All right, a few weeks ago, it may even be months ago, it probably is months ago with everything going on. I posted a video about entrepreneurs in residence. And at the time, I was even looking to bring on board an entrepreneur in residence for my companies. Not doing that right now, so no need to brush off and apply. But I did ask people to apply to become an entrepreneur in residence with my companies. And thank you to Sachin. I hope I pronounced your name right. I actually was asked by him on that video to expand upon the idea of what an entrepreneur in residence is. And the reason he asked for that is apparently the concept is fairly new to where he lives. I believe that is in India. And he wanted to know a bit more about an entrepreneur in residence. So I'm going to cover a couple things for you today. I'm going to reiterate the idea of an entrepreneur in residence. And then I'm going to, as part of that, I'm going to talk about a couple of ways in which that program tends to work, because sometimes it's more like an employee and sometimes it's not. So I just want to clarify a couple of those things for you. So an entrepreneur in residence is what it sounds like. It is someone who is entrepreneurial. They are trying to start a business. They have entrepreneurial mindset, those types of things. The reason it's called an in residence is because they may be launching a company, but they do that inside some other company or vehicle. And what I mean by vehicle is, for example, sometimes you will see an entrepreneur in residence inside a venture capital firm. They're actually inside that firm. While they're inside that firm, they're still launching their business. Sometimes they're also managing somebody else's business. So I feel like I'm going to be bouncing around and I'm going to do my best to bring this all together. So in that instance, working inside a business, let's say you're a corporation. Some corporations that aren't startups actually hire entrepreneurs in residence. Why would they do that? Well, maybe they've got a new division they're going to sort of spin off or launch inside the company, and they need somebody very entrepreneurial to run that. Someone who doesn't have a traditional business mindset. They need an entrepreneur. They'll go hire an entrepreneur in residence. Maybe you're a venture capital firm or a syndicate or something like that. Some of those firms will go out and hire entrepreneurs in residence. They may hire them to run the startup that entrepreneur thinks of and comes up with. They may also bring them on to run a startup that they are trying to help. So maybe that venture capital firm has invested in another startup and they had to get rid of the CEO, or maybe the CEO or someone heavily involved in that startup. They will go bring in an entrepreneur in residence and plant them inside that startup to sort of give it a boost and help it along. So that's one way it works. Also, you will see nonprofit organizations and or consulting firms that are working with startups like mine bring in entrepreneurs in residence. And a lot of times the way that works is the entrepreneur in residence will work on their startup. Okay. But at the same time, they will do other work for the business that they're with that is not explicitly related to their startup. So in my instance, when I was looking to bring on an entrepreneur in residence, it was half trying to bring in a new team member to do specific things for me, but it was also to coach them on their startup and help them get some progress there. So the way to think about this last example of an EIR, an entrepreneur in residence, is it's someone who is trying to launch a new startup, but maybe they need to keep a day job and make some income. And so they can work for someone like me, get paid to do that work. In the meantime, they're also launching and continuing to try and grow their startup or their new business. So EIRs, entrepreneur in residence, really vary in how they're used and what they're used for. Where it does not vary is they tend to wear two hats within inside an organization. They will have their own business that they're trying to scale up and grow and those kinds of things. And then they will do other functions for the business that they're part of. So, Sachin, that's a bit more about what an entrepreneur in residence is. If you guys have more specific questions, I want to encourage you to check in the next video on Thursday, because I'm launching a new way to connect with me, a new way for us all to connect together inside a community. And there'll be opportunities to ask me regular questions and also ask your peers regular questions inside that community. So check back in with me Thursday. Until then, I hope that helps. I hope you find your voice. Have a great day.